So with this planter, we need to put the high flow pump on this tractor. So we are got to take the duals off to get better access to it. You could probably do it without taking them off, but it's pretty tight in here. Pump is right there. Got to take all the lines off to it. That's just a standard flow pump. And we got to put a high flow pump. I think the standard is 41 gallons per minute. Don't quote me. And the high flow is 55 gallons per minute. And we'll change these filters while we're at it. And I think we might have to change that wheel seal once we get them wheels off. It's seeping out a little. But yeah. Reason being, this planter does not have a PTO pump on it. So we need more flow from the tractor. No PTO pump on it, unlike this 1240. It had a PTO pump on it. So it didn't require near the flow from the tractor. But yeah. So working on getting this high flow hydraulic pump on this Magnum 315. Had to take the duals off to gain better access to the pump. And these wedges were, the first one was a bear. This is the second one. Still don't have the second one off. Lubed it up good and we're gonna try tomorrow. But got the first one off over there. After we lubed it up and let it sit for a while. Just gotta lube it up real good and use those pusher bolts. All these bolts came out of these 6 holes, and then you pop the caps out of the 3 and then tighten them up until it pulls this wedge out of there so you can get that hub off. And we need to replace that seal. It was leaking, seeping a bit. Replace that seal while we're in here. But here's the high flow pump. I did not get any video of taking it off because hands were oily and kind of, yeah, just got it off. But there's the pump. All those lines, I had to break all those loose from the filter head, which is right here. That's where they all hooked up to. We gotta get that cleaned up and we'll put that on tomorrow. Put new O-rings on there and put a new O-ring on where in here where the pump went in, and 2 bolts holding it. One back there in the back, that is a booger to get to. Had to use a wrench and we'll maneuver around all these hoses back here. Took that sensor off to gain better access. But yeah. And I could not get a socket on them either. 12 millimeter. Just a regular wrench and tighten them up good and tight. And then tomorrow we will take those caps out, put the filter head back on, tighten all these fittings down, and tighten up all these other fittings, put new filters on it. There's a filter there and a filter underneath the filter head there. Put new hydraulic filters on it. We will pre-fill the pump right there at that bolt there and top it off with hydraulic oil, and should be good to go on that part. And reason being, putting a high flow pump on is this newer planter does not have a PTO pump on it, and pretty sure it requires 55 gallons a minute. So this high flow pump should give us right about that 55 gallons per minute. It's gonna take it all from what it sounds like. The standard pump that we took off was 41 gallons per minute. So hopefully this will give us what we need. But yep, got that bolted up. We're bolting up the filter head, all those fittings, put it all back together, replace that seal, put these hubs back where they need to be, put the tires back on, and we should be good to plant. Just got a rain shower finally. It's been a while. Got a nice rain shower that came through earlier, and should be able to get the wheat whacked off this week. We'll see, and then get the double crop beans planted right behind it. But yep. So we had the Huber service tech come out, and let's see, he replaced Jeremy with Huber. Thank you much. He replaced this DEF DCU unit. Not sure the correct terms, but I think that's what it was, because we were throwing a DEF fault code on there and went into limp mode there a couple times. So replaced that whole box on the good old DEF system, government juice. He did that when he was here earlier, and then we were putting this high flow pump on, and he said that it's a good preventative maintenance to replace. That's where your high flow pump goes into, bolts into, and this bolts onto the side right there. And apparently it's good preventative maintenance to pull this out and replace these bearings in here. They make an updated heavy duty bearing that goes in there, because these have failed in the past, and to get to it you got to pull the cab, and it's a bear to do. So while we're at it and have easy access to it, he went and popped that off, and we got to get those bearings, punch them out of there, and then put all that back together and bolt it up onto there. That's where it rides on. That sprocket gear shaft. Get that bolted onto there. Get the pump put on. Connect all these lines up. Put new filters on it. Fill her back up with oil. We should have a pretty good drain and flush of hydraulic oil after all this is done. So yeah, this thing holds like 45 gallons of hydraulic oil, and I'm sure we've gotten quite a bit out of it already. So fill her back up with high tran, and this old girl should be good for a while. And we got that seal coming because it was needed done. And then get all that buttoned up and get the duals back on, and we should be good for a while. Planter's pretty much ready. Let's see, what did we do? We replaced a couple of these bearings. Two or three of them on it. And we need to put the bean plates in it. We replaced just one of these elbows. That one was missing on here. And I had a spare from, we just replaced a couple of them on the 1240. Just one of those. And what else? This planer does have all new opener and leading discs on it. Came with it like that. And new seed shoes and firming points. The previous owner had it all rebuilt. And I think it was sitting in their shed for a couple of years. They didn't even use it. And they got 2150s. And then decided to sell it, so that's pretty cool. Plus it's got clean sweep road cleaners on it, which will be nice, being able to dial those in from the cab. And it's got precision monitoring on it. Gen 2 monitor. And road cleaner adjustment. So that'll be some new old tech. Which of course the new one's got Gen 3 monitor, and I think you can adjust your road cleaners on the 1200, on the 2150 planers. But yeah, in season, mid-season maintenance before double crops. We had to get a different where's it at? This was the connection to the battery for the air compressors for the pneumatic down pressure. This was our fitting that we had on the other planer, and we have to convert it to, this is what's on this planer, the style plug. We got the connection that we're gonna bolt up to that. Where's the connection at? Right here. That's the connection that we had to get. Tie the battery lines into there and mount that on the back of the tractor so that we can run the air compressors. And other than that, should be good, making sure all the guidance stuff is set up right and all those numbers are set up right for the road clutches, and which this one I believe has road clutches every 2 rows compared to on the corn rows, compared to that one had it every 3, so that'll be a little more precise. And yeah, old Maggie's getting some work done to her so she can run a bit longer. Yep. So we ran into a hiccup the other day, and with this high flow pump right there, you've got to order a high flow filter head, which sits right there, which all your lines connect to, and holds your one hydraulic filter. And I didn't know about that, and I guess the parts guy didn't know about it when we ordered this thing, but here's the one that was on the standard. Here's the one we had to find that used. Thankfully, Wangers in Pennsylvania had one on the shelf, so we got them to ship it to us. And as you can see, this neck right here is a little shorter on the high flow one compared to the standard one, so your lines, the lines would not reach on this one, so we had to get this one. As you can see the difference. But got it. We're gonna put her back together, button her up, and hope for the best. Part number on this is that. Came off a 290, looks like. Might have been sitting on the shelf from 2017, not sure, but whatever that date is, but part number is up there. Because they do not, I don't think they make, Case makes these new anymore, or you got to special order them or something, but now put it back on and button up all them lines. All right, we are all back together. New filters on. High flow pump on. All our fittings are tightened down. Got that filter head put on. And while we were at it, I can't remember if I made a video on it or not, but while we were at it, the bearing in behind that this goes into the transmission, there's a bearing that connects inside the a shaft that connects into the transmission, and there's a bearing, an updated bearing, heavy duty bearings that we put in while we were at it. Had to pull this off, pull the shaft out, or the sprocket, gear, whatever, and put some heavier duty bearings while we had it torn apart, because apparently they've been known to go bad, and if they do, you got to pull the cab off to rip apart the transmission or whatever. So all back together, ran it, topping them off with high tran. Don't see any leaks so far. Hopefully we don't have any. We got that seal replaced as well. Still got to put the duals back on and the hubs. And also HuberTech came out and put this DCU def unit on. It was not cheap, but it had to be done. And no, we're not going to delete it. We're just going to leave it be. But because it was throwing a code for def temp sensor or something bad, and apparently when the def sensor in that thing goes bad, you got to replace the whole unit, which is a couple grand. But comes with new filters and everything in it, so we should be good to go on the def system for a while. Got a good drain and fill on the hydraulic system, which we are filling up with high tran right here. Fill hole, dipstick, and yeah, this old girl will have a pretty good refresh after all this is done.